Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, illegal miners fight back. Sparks fears government is losing anti-Galamsey battle. Meanwhile, residents of Whittiam in Asutifi South reportedly flee the community over fears of reprisal by the military after last weekend's attack on Naimo's task force. Also on the program, Member of Parliament for Wa West Peter Tobo ignites conversation for the state to buy a new presidential jet. And much later, Ghana donates relief items to Jamaica and Cuba recently hit by Hurricane Melissa. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. The Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nanama Brown Kluche, has been recounting the events that led to the attack on her entourage and the subsequent accident involving members of the media team. Some EPA staff and a group of journalists who were part of a special operation to clamp down on illegal mining activities, including the fabrication and sale of champagne machines, were on Thursday involved in a ghastly accident at Afar in the Ashanti region. 2 members of the media team were critically injured and are currently receiving treatment at the hospital. The team was fleeing from illegal miners after coming under attack when the accident occurred. Speaking on Ghana Tonight, Professor Kluche said intelligence from Accra had advised the team to suspend the exercise to close down champagne manufacturing shops in the area.
It's just unfortunate that we have some injuries. As I said, the most critical one is a broken tie, which is one of the Joy TV cameraman who had a broken tie. Your correspondent, Abubakar, had he had chest pains and he is responding to treatment. Adom TV correspondent, that's Joseph, with a head injury. He's also responding to treatments. Then we have some EPA staff who were also involved in the accident. They are all responding to treatment, and we have discussed it with the doctors and nurses in charge to pay special attention to them because we were on a national assignment before this unfortunate incident happened. Yeah, so as the operation we started yesterday, it's a 3-week plan that the EPA has to ensure, especially the services that others provide for mining in our water bodies, which is illegal. We plan to tackle that aspect as well. So we realize that it's not just enough to say stop mining in the river bodies, but again, we saw that we needed to deal with the suppliers. So we took over the shops, closed down many shops at the Arian Kwanta, as I narrated yesterday. So today we were on another route to close down some other shops. On our way near Obuase, we saw people on the ground, the Galamsey happening on the ground. So we decided to have a look at what they were doing. When we stopped and walked into the area, where they're actually mining, they have access route, so we had to stop by the roadside and walk to the ground, the field where they are mining. So as we were going closer, they were running away, and all of them left by the time we got there. So we looked around what we could pick. We did pick. Whilst leaving, we saw that there were actually more of the excavators, 3 of the excavators that is inside a river body. So inside river body. So in fact, they had mined in the river body and blocked the river in such a way that it has taken different tributaries around the area and flooded some places. It's messy. It was really a bad situation. So we actually went to the car and used another route to the place. And whilst there, the people also ran. We called them to come, and then just before we could even have a conversation, they had sent news around, and so we saw built men, a number of them came with guns.
And you had the Professor Nanama Brown Kluche. She's the Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority. The incident has ignited calls for a state of emergency to tackle the illegal mining menace. The government, however, has dismissed such calls, insisting it is premature. But security analyst Emmanuel Kutin believes that now is the right time to take that step. He spoke earlier on 3FM's Sunrise.
The fight against Galamsey have turned ideological. The incidents we are witnessing, it doesn't surprise many of us. And this goes to the core of what we have always preached, that the president should declare a state of emergency. The president says until he's advised by the National Security Council, he will not do that. You see where it is leading us to? Have you seen where it is leading us to? Any phenomenon that you get the youth mobilizing to fight state agents who are supposed to be protecting their future, arming themselves to fight state agents who are supposed to be protecting them, getting free access to ammunition, light weapons and those kind of things, drugs, the red and what have you. And then if you go to these Galamsey sites, prostitution is very rift. It means that we are heading to a stage, if government doesn't act now, it will become practically impossible to confront.
And you have Emmanuel Kotin. He's a security analyst. Let's speak to my colleague William Evans Inkom in the Ashanti region. He joins us live on the phone. William, if you can hear me. Okay, we've lost William Evans Inkom on the line, but some 10 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll bring you some more, as well as that conversation with William Evans Inkom.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596-920-833 or 0302-200-390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
And it's still here on the Medani on 3FM 92.7. Let's go to my colleague William Evans Inkom now, who is in the Ashanti region, to bring us an update on what happened as regards the attack on the EPA boss and her team. William, if you can hear me, thank you very much for joining us. We know that Ibrahim Abubakar was one of the journalists who sustained injuries during that incident. Can you tell us how he's doing together with his colleagues?
Well, so Ibrahim is doing well. He's been discharged. He's now moving to the EPA to pick his stuff. You know, when the accident occurred, his stuff were left in the car, and they had to take them, to the EPA for safety keeping. So he's currently moving there to get his stuff. For the other colleague, media guys, unfortunately, they are still at the hospital. The one in critical condition, he's been operated on. The multimedia camera guy, he's been operated on. That was yesterday. He is still on admission. The other four who were admitted at the community hospital where the accident happened, they are still on admission. And my understanding, or while I'm taking information from them, that they are not likely to be discharged today for Ibrahim. So now it is only Ibrahim who has been discharged at the moment.
quite serious. But if you can tell us indeed what Ibrahim or the team on site narrated to you and really how they are taking it even now.
Oh, so yesterday they were actually with the EPA team to monitor activities of illegal miners, especially those who have been providing them equipment to mine. So we're talking about some Chinese nationals and then Ghanaian counterparts who have opened outlets, especially areas where galamsey is rice. So we are talking about the Amansia enclave, Amansia West, East, and then South, and of course Nansong Kwanta. So since Tuesday, they've been locking up shops. And normally what you will find is the Shanfan machine, and of course some holes and other equipment related to illegal mining. So they've been locking them, their shops. Yesterday, they extended that operation to Obuase, that is Abanse Enclave. And when they got to Dajin, the EPA team realized large tracts of land being destroyed and also a water body being polluted. So they were engaging the illegal miners when all of a sudden, they decided to pounce on them. What infuriated them, I cannot independently confirm because we are getting narration that one of their excavators was touched and that infuriated them to react. I cannot independently confirm that because the EPA has been mute on that side of the story. So they started pelting them with stones, and the video is there. They had to run for their life. But then they had also gotten an intel from national security in Accra that they need to avoid the very route that they used to Dagen. So they had to use Central Region through to Western North and connect back to the Ashanti region. So when they got to Afari, that was where their speeding vehicle collided with another one, resulting in these injuries. So that was all that happened, Beatrice.
Thank you very much, William Evans Nkumne. We'll certainly come to you for you to bring us the latest. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has reiterated its commitment to protecting our lands and water bodies. This comes after the Environmental Protection Agency was attacked by illegal miners at Obuase, leading to a head-on collision and injury of a number of journalists and officials, like you just heard my colleague tell you. The ministry says it remains resolute and will deal with the matter at hand, describing the incident as unfortunate. Director of Communications at the ministry, Mawusi Mawinyafia, has been addressing a news conference. Judith Brown is my colleague who is covering that for us. She joins us live on the line. Judith, what more can you tell us about what the ministry is saying about Galamsey and what happened yesterday?
Okay, so Beatrice, there was an update on basically the issue generally of illegal mining, which, of course, they gave this update, as you just read, on really what happened just yesterday at Obuasi involving the EPA as well as some other journalists who ended up in the head-on collision. Well, basically, they have said that they are still committed to protecting our lands and water bodies, and of course, they remain resolute in dealing with this particular matter. Now, this is not the only issue that they briefed the media on. One of the most pertinent issues as well has to do with something that happened at Fridium. Now, this happened basically involving the NIMOS team on one of their routine checks. They spotted an illegal activity at one of the sites in Fridium, and when the miners saw them, they immediately bolted, leaving one Burkinabe illegal miner who was accosted by the NIMOS team. Now, the NIMOS team then moved into the town, that's Fridium, to try and get the others that had bolted earlier. And when they got there, they were able to accost two others. Now, following the arrest of these two other illegal miners, the town folk were angry. They decided to mobilize themselves and attack the NIMOS team and try and overpower them so that they could release those illegal miners. And due to the number of the town folk who had been able to mobilize themselves, the NIMOS team had to call for reinforcements. and then after that they had to flee to the next town. And this time they had to even use the Zongo Chief's Land Cruiser, because at the time the NIMOS team car had been vandalized by the town folk. And so basically this issue was told to the Speaker of Parliament by the Minister, who condemned the incident. The Minister also condemning the incident. And basically they are saying as a ministry that they are still remaining resolute. They're going to fight illegal mining. But of course it has raised a lot of questions as to really why and how it seems town folk are getting the guts to attack military personnel. And if there's no subsequent attack, really, what is going to happen in the fight against illegal mining? So these are some of the issues that have been raised. But of course, the ministry, as I said earlier, says it remains resolute in solving and dealing with the matters at hand.
One of the things that has come up strongly, especially from today, has been that there is a need for governments to change the approach. Did that come out?
Well, some of the journalists here had raised issues as to really what exactly is their strategy, because, as I said earlier, if military men are being attacked, then we should be very worried. And, well, they say that for now they have not been given the go-ahead to sort of shoot and kill in terms of their kind of, when they're going on these routine checks, they've not been told to injure any of these people yet. And so it seems that moving forward, they might start considering doing that, looking at the kind of attacks that are coming from different sides of town on these teams that are, trying to combat the issue of illegal mining. Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Judith Brown. She's my colleague following the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources press conference on dealing with illegal mining menace. Let's get a quick word from Richard Kumado, who is a fraud and security consultant. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now, given the repeated attacks on state-led anti-galamsey operations, do you believe Ghana perhaps has lost control over this situation?
Not lost control per se, but what we are saying is that there's going to be challenges, there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be hiccups. The preparedness in managing this crisis will be determined by the preparedness of the front lines. What we are seeing is there are a number of few mistakes here and there, and that is giving rise to an entrapment by many of the galamsey places they have visited. We have done the nationwide risk assessment for the past 5 years. It is known and it is clear that galamsey, or inappropriate mining for that matter, is a major threat against the state. That regard, anybody who goes in there, you are likely to engage hostile environments and hostile personalities, and it's going to affect the operation. So these are some of the operational challenges. What we are seeing also, however, is the lack of preparedness of the frontliners and the naivety at which they take some decisions, and they know working together as agents in the same fight. They will have to look at it again. The interagency collaboration is breaking down. Use of intelligence and local authorities, the police and the BNI is breaking down. And their lack of preparedness in general in getting into some of these areas is what is creating the problem. But overall, the response we have seen so far shows that there could be challenges, there could be setbacks, but they are willing to put their lives on the line.
They're willing to put their lives on the line. This has also reignited calls for emergency, the declaration of a state of emergency. Really, the question is, what will a declaration of a state of emergency do that the current structure that the government has put in place will not?
No, it wouldn't do anything much. The state of emergency at Ahafo, where the NIMOS people were attacked, means that you shoot and kill. A state of emergency will mean that nobody goes to those areas. And once they get to those areas, as part of the standard protocol, the procedures that give the state of emergency means you take the people out. So with that in mind, what we are doing now with all the attacks that have come for the three, Hanabisu, the Professor Nana Brown Kruche, the NIMOS people, is that the state is acting on the state of
We lost Richard Komado on the line, and hopefully we're able to continue that conversation, if not on this program, in our subsequent bulletins. But we go to Whittier because the youth there, and Whittier is in the Asutifi South district of the Ahafo region. The youth there, we understand, are reportedly fleeing the town over concerns of a military reprisal. This follows Saturday's mob attack on the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS Task Force. The incident, which drew wide condemnation, has led to the ongoing police investigations. Let's speak to Armstrong Kusi, who is monitoring the situation for us. He joins us live on the line. Armstrong, if you can tell us what the youth there are saying after the attack on NIMOS.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on the show. This morning I was invited by VDM Youth for a press conference, and all what they are saying is that the news that is circulating around that VDM Youth attacked the 9 month soldiers is not true. The incident rather happened at Boni Krom, which the victim were conveyed to Video Police Station. So a lot of questioning from the media platform is circulating that CDM youth attack the soldiers, which is not true. And I have the PRO here who wants to speak to the situation because a lot of the youth here are running away to other places, and some parents are also advising their children to leave the community because they are expecting, or they are thinking that the police will come back to attack them as it happened in Vinstra or Mwasi. So I have the PRO here who wants to speak to the situation and tell us more what is happening here. PRO, and tell us more. What is happening here?
Yeah, good afternoon once again. My name is Bawa Sani Mohammed. I'm the PRO for Video Youth Association. Yeah, please, madam. We invited the media today, not to do anything, but just to justify something. We wake up early in the morning and we had the news that Video Youth attacked NIMOS. So we were wondering, like, how could the news be popped up? Because what you saw and the video in the picture, you cannot identify even a native of Video in that video in the picture. So the incident too, it didn't happen at Video, although the soldiers were conveyed to Video police station. So to the police station, that all this just happens.
All right, thank you very much. But I want to, if you can hear me, Kusi, I want to find out from you. The report we had was that the people there were fleeing because they are afraid that soldiers will come back to the community to attack them. Can you confirm or deny that for us?
Indeed, the people are running away from the community because they have been here for a lot of years, and the kind of people that I know, and sometimes I confront them and get to them for my information. A lot of them are not in the community, and some of the parents have also talking back to me that they are advising their children to leave the community. So indeed, and the youth are running away from Fijian, believing that the soldiers may come back and then bounce at them as a revenge. So they are leaving the community, and I think there's something, and there's something that we have to talk about so that we can take this fear and panic that is running through the youth in Ahafo region.
Thank you very much, Armstrong Kusi. He's our correspondent in Whittier in the Asutifi South District of the Ahafo region. To the Eastern region now, where Kwewu West Municipal Security Council has demolished unapproved structures at Nkoko Central, identified as hideout for miscreant. The joint action follows a knife stabbing incident over the weekend that resulted in the death of an individual.
According to the Municipal Security Council, the operations forms part of efforts to restore law and order and ensure public safety in the Kwewu West municipality of the Eastern region. Over the weekend, an altercation between two youth resulted in a stabbing incident and death of one person, while other unlawful activities continued in the area. A reprisal attack and mob action by the youth gangs at the Holy Family Catholic Hospital and the area was swiftly foiled by a police reinforcement team. The Kwewu West Municipal Security Council chairman, who doubles as the MCE, Tamimu Halidu, led the demolition exercise as an interim measure to clamp down on the rapidly growing ghettos in the municipality.
And you had Belinda Tete's report. She's a Ahafo regional correspondent. President John Mahama, on behalf of the government of Ghana, has donated relief items to Jamaica and Cuba, which were recently affected by Hurricane Melissa. The president has also extended the government's humanitarian gesture to war-torn Sudan to aid in its relief efforts. Speaking at a ceremony at the Jubilee House to donate the items worth 10 million cedis, the president urged other African countries to show sympathy to the three countries.
It has a tradition of solidarity and compassion. And so in addition to what he referred to with Guinea and Congo, we also extended assistance to Japan by shipping cocoa products to Japan when they had the tsunami at that time. And so there's another gesture. 3 countries are going to benefit: Jamaica, which is the hardest hit, and then Cuba, but also our colleagues in Sudan. Sudan is virtually becoming the forgotten war. Because of Ukraine and Gaza, it looks like the world's attention has shifted there. And so some of the atrocities, the genocide, and the humanitarian suffering that is taking place in Sudan is not something that belongs to the 21st century. And so we all witnessed recently Al-Fashir, when the RSF went in there. A lot of people were killed, a lot of people were displaced, and those people are in camps that are being run by the Red Cross. And so even though Ghana's contribution would not resolve the humanitarian suffering that is going on, we believe that if every country contributes its quota, we can help to alleviate, what is happening in these places. These humanitarian items are worth about 10 million Ghana cedis.
And you had President John Mahama. And that's it for the midday news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Sedu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to streetnews.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.